The last time I checked out an Akko keyboard was the 17th of May 2024, and you know, I really miss reviewing Akko keyboards. They had decent prices and the boards were really Akko style, you know. And one of those boards is the mod series. The mod series back in the day on my channel did extremely well because I feel like it was a little bit ahead of its time and it sounded really good. So I decided why not reach out to Akko and see if they have any upcoming projects that I could check out, and they sent over a pretty interesting board. This massive chunky thing, it's really heavy. This is the Akko Year of Snake Armor Edition. If you didn't know, Akko typically has a board that is themed around the 12 Lunar New Year animals every single year. It's a 12-year cycle that is very commonly known in Singapore and in China where we celebrate the Lunar New Year. We just know about the animals and the zodiac. So if you have heard about the zodiac animals, that's basically what the theme of the 12-year thing is. And this year is the year of the snake. And we typically see this year of dragon, year of snake, whatsoever, on the mod series. But this year we have a special armor edition, which is an Alice Akko Year of Snake. So let's take a look and see what this has to offer. Now do take note that this unit is a prototype unit, a very early prototype unit. I am missing some accessories that are supposed to be in the package, and I believe my package isn't exactly the final packaging as well. This still provided me with the basic cord cable and wireless receiver, which is all I need really. Now on to the main thing. This thing's weight is on another level. If I had to guess, they didn't give me an exact measurement and I don't have a weighing scale, but I think this is close to 3 or 4 kilograms. It's not comparable to the CU series. And with the weight, it is also very thick. It's a thick boy. Now, as you can see, the case I have is in green. The green is basically a limited edition green, which is done for the Year of the Snake. But if it's the normal colors you're looking at black and purple. And I can't wait to see that, but I haven't checked it out yet. On the back with the USB-C port, this is 5 centimeters thick. Go compare it to a board that you have. 5 centimeters is pretty thick. I don't know why I care so much about how thick it is, but you know. It has more angular cuts and this mesh design that actually has RGB that shines through, which is really nice considering that you don't want to make it too blocky because of how chunky it is. But now, the main thing about this themed keyboards are the keycaps itself. The keycaps themselves are what make the board so unique. And with this, it's a snake basically running through most of the modifiers with some nice green novelties and sort of that jungle tree pattern. And to finish it off at the bottom, we have a beautiful mirror finish. Also, it does come with a wrist rest. As you can tell, the front height is pretty high compared to usual boards. So having a wrist rest for typing will make the experience a lot better. Now, enough waffling, here's how it sounds. Very light, snappy. I don't really enjoy describing a sound of a board with creamy, but it's somewhat there, I guess. It's definitely towards the clackier side in general. It's a nice switch up, you know. Since about a year ago, Akko boards, I feel like, had a very distinct sound profile based on foam themselves, and this sounds very different from all the boards I've tried from them. So now let's take it apart and see what we have going on inside. I'm gonna go through the parts slowly from the top all the way to the bottom as I dismantle this whole case. Starting with the keycaps, I believe these should be 5-sided die-sub PBT keycaps. For some reason I couldn't 5-sided dice up, you know, my brain tweaking. And for switches, we have the Akko Cobra switches. It is manufactured by HMX and you can't get it anywhere else. It's made purely for the Akko Year of Snake Armor Edition. So you can't get these switches anywhere else. I have no more information on them. Now for our main case, I kind of predicted the moment I held the board that we do have the ball catch system, which is holding our top frame and bottom frame together. That was pretty smooth. For our PCB, we're looking at a 5-pin south-facing hot swappable PCB with perky RGB, and it also does have support for screw-in stabilizers. But when it comes pre-assembled as it is, it comes with plate-mounted stabilizers, and honestly, it's good enough. The stabilizers don't really have any ticking or rattling whatsoever. Stabilizers that come in pre-assembled boards nowadays just are perfect, you know. Oh Jesus. Now for our plate, I believe we have a palm plate. I can't really tell because palm plates are usually white, and if they have perky RGB, a white plate would make the light shine brighter. They didn't tell me exactly what the plate material is. It's definitely not polycarbonate, it's flexible, so I would guess palm. And maybe because it's an early prototype unit, they didn't make the plate white. I don't know how that works, but that's just my theory on what that plate is. Just take it with a pinch of salt. Now moving on to our PE foam set. Now moving on to our foam set, we have PE, plate and case foam, the 3 standard foam that we are used to. And underneath all these, we have two 4000 milliamp batteries for our wireless connection. But the most interesting thing about the internals of this board is the mounting. The mounting is a revamped version of what they were using for a spring mount. Previously, they were the first, I think, it was at least the first for me I've tried, was from Akko. The Akko SPR67 is spring mount which was extremely bouncy. It was like a trampoline. But you know, they upgraded it, they revamped it because that was a little unstable. So what we have here and what we're seeing is something they have developed from that mounting system. It has the standard standoffs to mount like a tray mount PCB, I would say, but it also have these silicone pillars which actually attach to the case and kind of supports our PCB and provide that flex just like a spring, but it's a silicone pillar. It's a lot more stable because it's made from silicone and not a whole spring, which is interesting to see. It's different from what we see nowadays. Yes. I decided to try out different switches aside from the Akko Cobra switches. Why do I have such a hard time saying that? Akko Cobra switches. Instead of the Akko Cobra switches. Cobra. I'm gonna get made fun of. So anyway, now that we know the board internally and externally, I decided to try out different switches to see what kind of sound profile this would create. I decided to try out the Osume Sakura switches, the HMX Swift switches, and the Akko Rosewood switches. So here's how they sound. The general sound profile of this board is definitely towards the clackier, lighter sound profile. Even with all the foam installed and with the Akko Rosewood switches, which are one of the deeper sounding switch on the market, it sounds really off. It doesn't sound like it belongs on the board, I would say. I feel like if you put on the HMX Swift or the Osume Sakura switches, they just sound a little better than the Rosewoods. And because of the PE foam and plate foam, instead of a very light and extremely clacky sound, it sounds a little less sharp, a little more rounded towards the ends when we're using it with really clacky switches, which is really nice to hear instead of a really sharp clack. It's more of a rounded clack. I already know the comments are gonna be like, what are you talking about, man? So yes, anyway, if you are planning to get this and experience with different switches, I think the best switches you would want to try are HMX switches. HMX switches in general just clackier, that leans towards this keyboard's profile. But if any of you want to create that talky, deep sound profile, I don't think this is the board for you. Just in general, the themed boards by Akko are meant to be just as it is. You know, the Akko Cobra switches are basically made for this board, and the keycaps themselves are what makes this whole thing just come together, you know? So yeah, nice to have finally checked out a more recent Akko release, and honestly they're still doing pretty well. So if you're interested, I'll have it linked down below. Comment your thoughts on the Akko Year of Snake down below, like this video if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you enjoy French fries. Who doesn't like French fries? You have to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.